Hey everyone, Camille here from 88 Fitness Training. Welcome back. Today we're deep diving into shoulder exercises and how to do them with the proper form. So if you're looking to build those bolder shoulders or just rock that tank top with confidence, definitely stick around and check out this shoulder workout. So this video was a special request from one of our subscribers, Keenan. He had asked us to film the most popular exercises for each muscle group while showing the proper form. So today I'm going to take you through 5 different shoulder exercises, undoubtedly the most popular ones that you see performed, and for good reason. And we'll go through all the different mechanics of how to do them, what's important, what equipment you use, and what muscles are worked. So definitely stick around, let's jump into it. So the first exercise we're gonna go through is gonna be a side lateral raise. All right, y'all, you have 3 heads to the delts on the shoulders: the front, the side, and the rear. So this exercise is gonna emphasize that side part of the delt, which is responsible for that width of the shoulders. So if you're looking for broad shoulders, these side raises are gonna be where it's at. Now you can do them different ways with cables or dumbbells, but the most basic way is gonna be with a set of dumbbells. All right, so we're gonna start with our feet. We're gonna make sure we have a nice stable base. We want the feet shoulder width apart. We wanna put a slight bend in that knee, and then we wanna lean forward ever so slightly. All right, now with our hands at our sides, we don't want our hands down here touching our sides. We actually want to come slightly out, maybe like 6 inches or so. This places pressure on the side delt versus down here where now my shoulders aren't under load at all. So with tension on those delts, we're going to bring the arms up with a slight bend in the elbow to about shoulder height or slightly higher then, and then lower them down slow, keeping the weight on that delt and not going dead at the bottom. So again, nice stable stance, hip width, slight bend in the knee, slight lean forward, arms out to our sides with the shoulders engaged. Come up, 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 stop, give a good squeeze of those delts, and lower back down slow. So just like this. You really want to take your time, really focus on all 3 phases of the lift, right? You have the raising part, this is concentric, the isometric squeeze, and then the lowering part, which is called the eccentric. All right, so go ahead, hit your 6 to 12 reps. Make sure you're doing good form. Now, a common mistake on these is a lot of people tend to use too much momentum in swinging. They'll actually start with the dumbbells in front of their body, and they're doing something that looks like this, right? So when you're doing that, you're taking a lot of load that could be on the delts from this position and not really getting that good contraction or mind muscle connection. And so if I'm being honest, this is probably a mistake that I made for the first 5 years when I started lifting, right? It's a lot easier to have these weights out in front of the body. You have more leverage over them. And then obviously if you're swinging using momentum, you're able to get pretty heavy weights up. But if your goal is to truly build the size of your shoulders, you want to bring these weights out to your sides, apply tension to your side delt, and then raise. And it makes a difference, right? Like I can feel this, it burns, and I only have 5 pounds in my hands. So it's gonna take a while for you to progressively overload if you're using good form like this. But if you truly care about building that width and those wide shoulders, then you're absolutely gonna wanna do it this way. All right, y'all, that's the side lateral raise. Next, I have a seated dumbbell overhead press for you guys. And this is gonna be a really good one for working all 3 heads of the delts, the front, the side, and the rear. However, I will say with using dumbbells, there's slightly a little more emphasis on the side delt. So if you really are trying to grow your shoulders wider, this is a fantastic one. But in general, if you're looking for overall shoulder mass, it's still really effective. So for this, we're gonna have our bench in the upright seated position. We're gonna make sure our back's nice and flat up against that bench. We're gonna take our dumbbells, place them out to the sides. And so you are gonna have to abduct those shoulders backwards, just like this. And then we're gonna push overhead, coming up and squeezing at the top, right? So lower slow, come down. You want a good amount of stretch on those delts before pushing back up, just like that. So a common mistake I see a lot is people stop too short. They don't get enough stretch on the delts. Like these dumbbell heads are just about touching my delts in the lowest position, right? A lot of people, as they come down, they stop to right about here because it's easier to get the weight back up, right? So if you come deep and you have that stretch, you really have to work and apply a lot of force to push up. And so it's really important that you work in this stretch position because muscle stretch while under load, as you know, has the most potential for growth. And then lastly, another thing that you see sometimes is rounding or arching of the back. So as these get heavy, there's this tendency to apply arch to the back, and it almost turns it into, a chest exercise. Because you're so arched, you're able to use your pec muscles to help push that weight up. But this is not good for the spine. You want to stay straight up, straight down, pressing that spine into the back of the bench, keeping everything nice and neutral as you do these. All right, so I guarantee if you slow it down, use proper form, make sure you don't have that arch in your back, it is gonna burn. You're gonna feel all three heads of the delts, y'all. All right, there you have it. There's the seated dumbbell overhead press. Up next, we have a reverse fly. So reverse flies, we're gonna work on that posterior delt, the rear delt, on the back side of the shoulder. So for this, there's different ways you can do it. I'm gonna show you the most common way. So you're gonna grab your set of dumbbells, you're gonna place your feet at a hip width, and then you're gonna slightly bend at the knee. We're gonna hinge forward at the hips, leaning forward, let our arms hang straight down. And then with a slight bend in the elbow, we're gonna bring the arms up until they're flat and in line with our body. Bring them back down slow, and then again, just like this. All right, now there's different grips you can use, and I recommend you try all three of them to see which way feels better. But the most common way is gonna be like I'm doing now with the palms facing inward. Another way is palms facing you, overhand grip, just like this. And then you can even do palms out grip, just like this. All right, but the most common way is gonna be palms facing in, just like that. All right, so this one again, you're gonna give it a try. It's pretty hard though, right? It takes some time to increase weight and progressively overload, because what happens is as you start to get too heavy, you're not able to fully come up and contract those rear delts. So you really want to use a pretty light weight so you can come up and give them a good squeeze, hold that squeeze, and then lower back down slow. Now, as you do progressive overload, you may want to consider doing some type of chest supported rear delt fly, because as you get heavier, it's hard to maintain that weight without toppling over. But it's easy. All you have to do, grab a bench, you can lean forward, placing your chest against your thighs, and then come up and hit the weight just like this. All right, so there's two variations of the reverse fly, rear delt fly. It goes by different names, but the main thing is to focus on the mind-muscle connection and getting that deep squeeze when you're in the extended position. All right, y'all, the reverse fly. Another popular exercise done at the gym is the upright row. Now this can get a lot of negative press, y'all. But the upright row is a fantastic exercise for hitting all three heads of the delts. So the form I'm gonna show you is definitely a safer version of the upright row that you can do. Just like the other exercises, we're gonna place our feet at hip width apart, slight bend in the knees. With our dumbbells in front of our body, we're gonna bend at the elbow, bringing the weight up. Now the key here is going to be to have the elbows slightly higher than the hands, and then lower back down slow, just like this. The reason this gets a lot of negative press is that it can cause shoulder impingement or pain if you're too narrow. So my recommendation is to open it up just slightly so you're in a little more of a wider position, which is safer. And now with that wider position though, one thing to keep in mind, you may not be able to upright row as heavy as you normally would with the dumbbells closer together. But this is absolutely a shoulder burner, absolutely a staple. So again, come up, make sure the elbows are slightly higher than the hands, give a good squeeze on those delts, and then lower back slow. All right, don't go dead at the bottom. Keep tension on those delts. Keep the shoulder blades back, nice upright posture. Come up, squeeze, lower back down slow. All right, there you have it. That is the dumbbell upright row. The last exercise I have for you is for the front delt. So we're gonna do dumbbell front raises. So same thing, grab your pair of dumbbells, place your feet right at hip width, and really you just want something stable. So if shoulder width is a little more stable for you, then do that. But I personally like hip width. All right, slight bend in the knees. You've got your delts engaged, and with the palms facing inward, we're gonna bring the hands straight up and lower back down slow. Now there's different grips once again. The neutral or palm facing inward grip is probably the most comfortable on the shoulder joints if you're trying to reduce the amount of stress on the joint itself. But there's other grips. You can do palms facing you, overhand grip, just like this. And you can even slightly rotate the palms out and do a front raise. Now you just want to be careful that you're not kind of coming out into a Y. If you're doing a Y raise, you're going to get a lot more side delt activation in there than front. And that's one of the reasons I really like keeping palms in and just coming straight up, straight down, just like this. But you really want to make sure you're focusing on mind muscle connection and controlling the eccentric. You know, I really feel like the muscle is made on this one in the lowering portion, not necessarily the raising portion or the isometric. It's really creating a lot of tension to move this weight slow. If you're just coming up and then dropping back down, or you're swinging, you're not getting the most out of the rep that you could be. So slow it down, take your time, and use those delts throughout the entire range of motion. All right, y'all, that was our last exercise, front delt raises. All right, y'all, let's cap this video. So today I took you through 5 of the most popular shoulder building exercise. We talked about how to do them, what equipment you needed, and what the proper form was, including what muscles were worked. So hopefully you enjoyed all those tips. You know, we started with the side lateral raise. Again, this one was for developing that width to the shoulders. So if you're trying to fill out those t-shirts, it's definitely a move you want to work in. The key to this one was not going dead at the bottom and keeping tension on those lats, those delts the entire time. So you were coming up and controlling it all the way back down. From there, we did a seated overhead press, y'all. And remember, it's so important to have the muscles stretched while under load. So don't go too shallow on those overhead presses. Bring the arms down. Get that deep stretch across the delt, and then lift the weight overhead. All right. From there, we went ahead and we hit some rear delt flies. So grab your set of dumbbells. The important thing there was to pick a weight that was light enough for you to fully come up and contract those rear delts. And then of course, you want to take your time on the eccentric part of the lift. All right, from there we moved into upright rows. Again, you absolutely can do these safely. Just open up that width of the grip for the upright row. Don't come in too narrow. All right, and then last, but certainly not least, we did the front delt raise. So grab those dumbbells. Remember, there's 3 different grips you can use. Definitely use the one that you feel the front delt the most. But the key there was to make sure you're coming all the way up and then taking your time while keeping that front delt engaged as you lower. All right, y'all, I appreciate the request, Keenan. Keep them coming, y'all. We love making video content for you guys. And if you need to ask us any questions, definitely check me and James out live every Sunday at 12 Eastern. It's your opportunity to interact with us one-on-one and get any questions you have answered. All right, if you like this video, definitely smash that subscribe button and like, and definitely check out our other videos in our shoulder playlist. Until next time, aviators, Camille.